is going to be the schoolyard by the soccer field, which will be the larger field in the back of the school. And grade 5 is also going to be being dismissed from that exit as well. It's a large enough space, and the teachers will pick areas within the field. That'll be the designated area where the students will go for arrival and dismissal. Now, when it comes to arrival and dismissal, what I'm going to say is these are going to be the arrival and dismissal exits right now. And the reason why we say that is because during the first couple weeks of school, what we do is we monitor flow of traffic. And what that means is we take a look at who's coming, who's going, is there congestion? Should we, alleviate one exit by moving a class over or another? And we do that several times throughout the year because safety is one of our biggest priorities. So for right now, these are our exits and entrances, but they might be modified and they might be adjusted based off of, like I said, that flow of traffic. If that's the case, we will communicate with you. It'll either come from school or it will come from the teacher, but either way you would know, and it doesn't start immediate. So what usually happens is we notify you, let's say on a Wednesday, we try it out on that Friday, and then we go into full effect on the following week. So you have a couple days to acclimate yourself. A lot of questions came in about staggered dismissal times for the safety of our younger kids compared to the older kids. We will be doing that. The school hours have changed this year. The start time of the school is 8 o'clock, and the school day ends at 2:20. There will be a staggered dismissal time, and that will be communicated to you by the classroom teacher. So the classroom teacher will let you know at what time your child will be dismissed. What we're also doing this year that's new is we're having a sibling dismissal where we will have siblings being dismissed out the same door. That will get started probably around the second or third week of school, only because there will be permission slips that go home with children on the first day of school for that program. So just bear with us. If you have multiple kids in the building, just please bear with us for the first couple of days of school until we get those permission slips and those groups formalized. But we will be doing a sibling dismissal to make it easier for parents that are picking up multiple kids in our building. And that will also help with flow of traffic as well. So that's where we are right now for the arrival and dismissal procedures in terms of exits and entrances and things like that. And like I said, if you have any questions about anything, please drop it in the chat, and we will try and address them all today. If we don't get to your question today, we will definitely reach out to you and answer your question. And that's basically the next side is questions. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. However, we may not know the answers, and that's okay. And part of the reason why I may not know the answers is because what I've experienced over the last couple of years is that things are constantly changing, especially when it comes to the health and safety guidelines and protocols. So there are some things we may not be able to answer. But as we get closer to the first day of school, we'll definitely answer those questions. Like I said, you drop that in the chat and we'll answer them towards the end of this presentation. Okay, so some summer updates. So we have a few updates and I'm pretty excited about them. So I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about them now. The first one is we have a brand new custodian, which I'm very excited about. For the last couple of years, we have not had a head custodian in the building. We've had what's called TC, which is temporary care. And that means we've had a custodian that's been in the building for about, 6 to 8 weeks or so. And then another one comes in for 6 to 8 weeks and another one comes in for 6 to 8 weeks. But at the beginning of the summer, we have an actual permanent custodian that's with us full time. And I'm very excited about that. We've met several times throughout the summer. We've talked about renovations. We've talked about things that we could do around the building to increase safety or cleanliness. And he's been right on point. So some of the things that we've had here, which they're in the process of installing right now, is a new public address system, which are our bells and our clocks, which I'm really very excited about this because as any of our teachers or visitors in the building know, we can go in one classroom, it'll say 12 o'clock, and in the other classroom will say 5 o'clock. And our bells are usually off, and so we're excited about that piece. So I'm very happy about that. The other thing too is the new upgrade to the PA system gives us I don't really know how to change that, Ms. Lamarca. So I guess, we're just going to go from there. Ms. Lamarca said it's showing my notes. I mean, it is what it is. So we'll just go from there. But anyway, the new PA system is giving us exterior speakers as well. So when we do our, with the PTA, when we do movie nights or we do concerts outside or anything like that, we'll have the ability to plug a microphone right into the exterior wall and use the speakers on the outside of the building. So I am really very happy about that. I recently found out that we're on deck for a new roof and windows. And my immediate question was, will the windows come with shades? And the answer was yes. We do need some new shades in our building. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's going to be a long-term project. I don't really know when that's happening, but they already did an assessment of the building, and the architects came into the building. So that's actually pretty good. Our new custodian did some exterior masonry work. He fixed some of the steps in the building. He got some of the things repaired, especially where our 3K kids are and where our pre-K kids and kindergarten kids are coming in. He's working on new locks and doors in the building. He replaced all of our fire extinguishers, so we now have all up-to-date fire extinguishers. He even helped to upgrade the fire alarm panel in the building, and he upgraded ventilation in some of our bathrooms and classrooms. So I'm very, very pleased with it. He really hit the ground running, and you know, his priority is the safety of the students and the staff, and so we welcome him, and we're very excited for everything that he's done. We've had a lot happen, and a lot more that's coming down the road here at PS 84. So teacher assignment postcards. So about 10% of our postcards were not delivered to home addresses. So if you did not receive your postcard, please email myself or Miss Lamarca. So we have my email addresses there, which is drmano@schools@nyc.gov, and Miss Lamarca's is klamarca2@schools.nyc.gov. Also, if you're a current child in the building and you didn't receive the postcard, I would definitely double check your address with the main office. It's always important to make sure that we have the correct address on file, and we could do that through the blue card piece. When you get your blue card, you fill it up, but please make sure that your correct address is on there. Our 3K and pre-K teacher assignments will be announced in the coming days, and the reason why those postcards did not go out is because we're still waiting on official class lists from the Office of Enrollment. So that usually comes within this week or next week, and the teachers usually reach out to those kids directly. It's a little more intimate that way, especially with our little learners coming to the school. And they'll reach out to them, let them know what kind of supplies they need, expectations, things like that. So that is coming shortly. So if there are any parents on here that are coming into our 3K or pre-K, rest assured, everything is fine. It's just part of the enrollment process, and you will be receiving contact from the school shortly. Today is actually our first day back, myself and Ms. Lamarca. We were off for the last 2 weeks, so this is our first day back. So we're still kind of getting things situated. So if you did reach out to us in the last 2 weeks via email, just bear with us. We're going through our emails, and we are responding as fast as we can. We will get to everyone by the end of this week with any answers of the questions that you emailed us with. Okay, so class change requests. If, usually around this time, class changes are typically done when there is a reason for the change. And what is the reason for the change? Well, if there's a disciplinary issue or something with a student from the past, that's usually when we take class changes into consideration. All class changes will be reviewed, and parents will be notified of the outcome of the class change. As of now, we will no longer be accepting class change requests. And the reason why we're saying this is because we need to finalize our rosters, and our teachers are in the process of setting up classrooms with individualized decorations of, students' names. Sometimes teachers put names on the desks or things like that. So we are not going to be accepting any more class change requests at this time. However, if something comes along down the road where there's an issue or something, we could revisit it and have a conversation. But as of right now, we're pretty much going to be finalizing our rosters and getting that out to our staff so that they can prepare for their opening, which is next week, which school is, less than 2 weeks away. All right, so COVID safety guidelines. I know that this has been a topic of conversation since schools shuttered back in 2020. Obviously, we are still in a pandemic and we're still following guidelines. One of the things I want to let our parents and community know is that our COVID guidelines is given to us by the Department of Education, and they create those with the Department of Health based off of CDC guidelines. We don't create these guidelines at the school level. A lot of parents and families have come to us over the last couple of years and have made suggestions in response to testing or quarantining or things like that. And unfortunately, we, as much as we would want to speak to our parents and honor those requests, we can't, because it really does come from the Department of Health and Department of Education. So here are the updated COVID guidelines as of now, because one of the things that we have noticed is that the guidelines tend to change based off of the rates of positivity in the community, based off of things that the CDC does with the federal government. So as of right now, this is what New York City schools have adopted. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that these guidelines are the same guidelines for the rest of the schools in the state or private schools. So many parents come to me and say they have cousins or family members that live out on Long Island, or they have friends that are in private schools. Every district is responsible for creating their own guidelines based off of the CDC guidelines. So these are the DOE guidelines. So the guidance provides best practice consideration for schools for the 2022-2023 school year to help prevent the transmission of COVID-19 among students and staff. So as of right now, the vaccination requirements. Vaccination is still required for all visitors entering school buildings. Vaccination is still required for all DOE employees. Vaccination is still required for other individuals who work in DOE buildings. So for example, right now we have contractors in the building working on finishing our PA system. They all have to be vaccinated in order to be working in the building. And vaccination is still required to participate in high-risk extracurricular activities, including high-risk PSAL sports. The daily health screener is no longer required to enter school buildings. So last year, and when we came back from the initial lockdown year, staff and students had to take a daily health screener. That is no longer required this year. So is there no requirement for the daily health screener? What happens if a child tests positive for COVID-19? So if someone, a student or a staff member tests positive for COVID-19, they still have to isolate. So students and staff who test positive for COVID-19 must isolate for 5 days and can return to school on day 6 if they have no symptoms or symptoms are improving. They must wear a mask until day 10 after symptom onset or date of positive test, whichever is earlier. So they still have to wear a mask if they come back on day 6 through day 10. These cases should be reported to the school so that they can report them to the situation room for exposure notifications. So the school is still responsible for reporting COVID-19 cases to the situation room. So I ask that if your child tests positive, please report that to the school. By doing so, you would either call and ask for myself or Ms. Lamarca. We will give you the dates because this is very confusing. So I always say that, you know, if you test positive or if you develop symptoms, just give us a call and we'll be able to communicate with you, you know, when you can or are eligible to return to school based off of the guidance. It's, you know, it's easier sometimes to talk it out, and we hold that next to the information that's given to us by the situation room. You know, classwork will be provided to students who are in isolation. So that policy will still remain in effect, where if the child is on a 5-day quarantine, they're still going to be getting the classwork through the online system. And that will be communicated with you, with your classroom teachers as we, you know, begin the process. If any child tests positive on the onset of school, no need to worry. Just let us know. We'll get that work to you and we'll communicate with you so that there is no time that's lost. A lot of parents have questions about students who are home on quarantine. Does that count as an absence? It does. It still counts as an absence. However, it's an excused absence. So it's not going to affect them, but it still will count towards their absences. Okay, testing. So if you test positive, the CDC advises that, I'm sorry, not testing positive, if you are exposed. So what does this mean? So I'm in the same classroom as Ms. Lamarca and I have COVID. Now Ms. Lamarca sits in my classroom. That means she was exposed to someone who tested positive. So the CDC and the New York City Department of Health and the Department of Education is recommending that students and staff who are exposed to COVID-19 should get tested. These individuals will receive a home test kit, just like last year, from the school. It's advised that you take 2 tests at least 24 hours apart. Now, this changed from last year. They're advising that if you are exposed, instead of taking a test on day 1, they're advising that you would take the test on day 4 and then again on day 5 of exposure. All exposed individuals should monitor for fever and other COVID-19 symptoms for 10 days after their exposure. And if symptoms begin, they should not attend school and should isolate and get tested for COVID-19 again right away. So that's pretty much still in alignment with the test to stay policy that New York City had last year. Again, this is what the city has now. I'm not sure if it's going to change at any point. but these are the guidelines that we will be following, which is similar to last year's guidance. All right, so starting on the first day of school, school will offer home test kits for those who had potential in-school exposure or those that have symptoms, which we had just talked about. In addition, each staff and student will receive 4 tests per month to take home. These tests can be used by school families for testing due to symptoms, exposure, high-risk activities such as travel or large gatherings, and can give staff and students immediate results. So you will be receiving the test kits like you did last year. Last year, I know we did that before the breaks and things like that. So it's going to be 4 per month. One of the big changes this year is that they will not be doing in-school PCR surveillance testing. That will not be part of the 22-23 school year. So for the last couple of years, they did in-school testing where they came in and they tested randomly 10% of our students and staff. They will not be doing that this year. So that will not be happening, but you will still be getting the home test kits. Like I said before, the situation room, we are still required to report positive cases to the COVID-19 situation room. They really are the ones that determine the quarantining guidelines, the days, things like that. The situation room will provide schools with standardized communications. For those of you that have been here before, it's the letter. It's pretty much the same letter that I post or Ms. Lamarca post on Dojo. Those come from the situation room. So that's the communication that they're talking about. I know some families signed up for the daily COVID emails and the COVID maps. So that will still be updated by the situation room. And again, it's important to let us know if your child tests positive for COVID-19. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed about. It happens. It's still very much out there, the virus. So again, if you do test positive, please reach out to us so that this way we can communicate that and do what we need to do on our end in terms of notifying the community. And as you know, it is anonymous. So, you know, that, you know, we will never say, you know, your child, first name, last name, tested positive. That will never happen. It's always a child in this class or a child or someone in our school community to that effect. All right, so masking. So masking is optional. I know that was something that they took away last year. Masks will be made available for those who need or do want them. Students and staff, regardless of vaccination status, are required to wear a mask when. So there are still some requirements for masking, and I will talk to you about that now. If you are returning to school on the 6th day after testing positive for COVID-19 through day 10, you are required to wear a mask. And we will talk to you about those dates when you contact us in regard to the quarantine isolation period. And this also includes when traveling on buses. So if you are a bus child and you're coming in off of a school bus, you are required to wear on the bus when you are on days 6 through 10. Anyone who enters the medical room or nurse's office is required to wear a mask. The nurse will have masks available for those that do not. So you would grab one, put it on when you enter the medical room. And if you are exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19 at school, so if a child comes down sick during the day, let's say they develop a fever or a sore throat or any one of the symptoms, that, you know, the nurse will determine whether or not the child has symptoms of COVID-19. If that's the case, you will receive a test kit, and the child will also be given a mask to wear, you know, while they're picked up to go home. Okay, school building cleaning. So as part of the guidance, there will be routine cleaning of surfaces that will be maintained, doorknobs, handrails. They're still going to be using the sprayers at night. I spoke to the custodian. He's going to be disinfecting like we've done in the past. So that's still happening. Our school visitor policy, that really hasn't changed from last year as well. All visitors must show proof of at least 1 dose of COVID-19 vaccination to enter a DOE school building. Visitors do not include students attending school or school-related activities in a DOE building. So if there is a student in the building that is not vaccinated, they do not get excluded from the school, and they will not be excluded from any school-related activities like graduations or performances or concerts or things like that. Acceptable proof of vaccination is one of the following: a CDC vaccination card, which is, you know, a photo or a photocopy is also acceptable. The New York City vaccination record, which is the card that's given to you. The New York City COVID Safe app, which is a phone you could download, an app you could download on your phone. The Excelsior Pass, which is also an app you could download on your phone. And I just posted the link there, which is on the DOE website, to the vaccination portal. Now, the vaccination portal is the portal in which students and staff can upload their vaccination to that website. And any staff member would had to do that. And again, that link is on the DOE website. I had copied it in there for everyone. All right, so school closure. So if those of you that have been with us, it's not your first time in school. When we came back for the first school year after the lockdown, there were some intermittent closures, classroom closures, school closures. Schools will be closed only when it is determined by the New York City Department of Education and by the New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene that there is widespread transmission in the school. With the health and safety measures in place, we expect that school closures will be limited. I'm always happy to report that our building only closed one time out of the system-wide closure due to COVID-19 spread, and that was when we came back off the lockdown year in the springtime. So we do take this very seriously. Our custodial staff takes it very seriously, and we will continue to do what we need to do to ensure the safety of our students. And like I said, things change. So if anything does change in terms of safety guidance, we will definitely let our community know. So general safety protocols. So, towards the end of last school year, there was definitely, tragedies that happened and still happen in terms of school shootings and things like that. And a lot of questions were raised about the safety and security of the school, of the building, what happens in case of a lockdown drill, are staff trained, are we trained? And the answer is yes. A lot of questions came in about why don't we just lock the front door, go into a buzz-in system. Unfortunately, similar to COVID protocols, the safety protocols are also given to us by the Department of Education. So we cannot necessarily deviate from the protocols that are given to us. But we can do certain things in our school to make sure that they're extra safe for our students and our staff. So the first one that many people don't know about is our school did get a full security camera upgrade a few years ago. So our safety agent, along with myself and Ms. Lamarca and the custodian, have access to all of the cameras. So the safety agent is monitoring the entire building all day, including leading up to the school building, the main entrance. She has cameras that go all the way down to the sidewalk and the street. So that's the first one that I want to let everyone know, that we do have an increased security system in that capacity. I've spoken to our new custodian about upgrading the locks and the doors throughout the building. So he started doing that. He started putting in to replace some of the doors. He's starting to replace some of the locks, which is very good. I am going to be speaking to our staff at opening conferences about getting our staff members ID cards because we are having some construction in the building over the next few years. And I believe it's important to have our staff to make sure they have ID cards so that we know that they're supposed to be in the building and that they are in the building and that they are attached to our building as our family members. Myself and Ms. Lamarca are this week attending mandatory principal and building response team leader training and active shooting training that we're going to with NYPD. With that, we will be turnkeying that with our staff during opening conferences next week, what those protocols are, what a lockdown drill is. We started these conversations with our staff last year, and our staff came up with amazing points of things that we're going to improve, and we're going to continue those conversations and make sure that all of those are in place prior to the start of school. And we're doing a huge building safety check with the custodian and school safety this week. We're going to be walking around the building to make sure that all of our door alarms are updated and ready to be used, and our locks are good. And I will say this, we have a very, very safe building. And the training is there, and I'm looking forward to the active shooter training that's happening this week. And we will make sure that we turnkey to our staff to make sure that, again, they are safe. Like I said earlier, I know what it's like to send our pride and joy to school every day. We want to make sure that they're in a safe, welcoming, and nurturing environment. And that's something that I'm passionate about. And that's something that all of our teachers are passionate about as well. And I see Ms. Lapis is nodding her head. And so, this is something that, this is our number one priority, and we will make sure that your children are safe. All right, Meet the Teacher Night. So we will be having a Meet the Teacher Night this year. The date will be announced in the coming days, so please stay tuned. So we will be announcing that. I also want to add that this year, the teachers will also have every Tuesday will be parent engagement and office hours for the teachers. So they will be communicating with you how that's going to look, what that's going to look like. So you will be able to have increased communication with our teachers every Tuesday during those office hours. And you'll also be able to communicate with us whenever you need. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, so I want to talk to you about some of our specialty classes that we have this year. We will be having PE and health, a second language. For the first time, we're offering a second language to our students, 3K through grade 5. So I'm very excited about that as well. Mr. Tobia is coming back with his music program. And there's been a lot of questions about art. What are we doing with art? And I'm excited to announce that we will be having an art program. It's going to be an internal residency with external partnerships. So this is a new dynamic program that we're piloting and spearheading here at PS 84, where what we're doing is we're creating an art program where students will be able to be engaged in artwork throughout the building. And what do I mean by that? I mean by visual artwork, murals on the walls, paintings on the floors. There was talks about, putting Steinway swag on the main entrance and creating a bistro out there. Our kids are going to be involved in decorating that, painting that, drawing that, and every cycle of the internal residency program will have a theme. Every theme will be geared towards specific grades in the building that'll be tied to the curriculum. So for example, if second grade is working on a communities program, the internal residency for second grade will be focused on doing an art project related to the community. So I'm very excited about that. There will be more information that's coming down the road in terms of the art program, but I am excited to say that we're all offering something dynamic. You see, our school is small and there are pros and there are cons to a small school. The pro is that we get to know everyone and we really do become a family. And it's true, we know our students, we know our parents, we know our teachers, we know our entire community. The con to a small school is we may not necessarily have the funding that a larger school would have in terms of hiring. No problem, let's hire an art teacher. No problem, we'll hire a gym teacher. No problem, we'll hire this. No problem, we'll hire that. We don't have the luxury to do that. But what we do have is creativity, a staff that cares, and the ability to think outside the box. And if any one of these new programs will be successful, they'll be successful here at PS 84. So I'm very excited about our specialty program. So stay tuned with that. More information will be coming down the road, but we are going to be having PE, health, second language, music, and an art program. All right, our new teachers. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to ask Miss Lamarca to share her screen. She'll probably be able to share it the right way, unlike me, who shared it the wrong way with the notes. But anyway, we did hire some new teachers that we're going to introduce to you right now. We wanted them to be on the session, but they're actually down at an in-person new teacher training all day. So we're going to talk a little bit about them now. But before I introduce our new teachers, well, they're on the screen. So it's okay, Mr. Marcus. So we hired a new gym teacher, Mr. White. He's going to be teaching physical education for us. He is super dynamic, energetic, very excited. He was talking about decorating the gym. He has been a baseball coach, a soccer coach, really avid physical education person. Fun fact about him is he has over 100 autographs from professional athletes, which I think is pretty cool. So I can't wait to sit down and have a conversation with him about, who he has, and maybe we can share some. I only have about 5, so he has me beat by 95 or so. So we're very excited to bring him on board. Some of the things he wants to do is create after-school programs for sports in the building, talked about a soccer club, talked about baseball club. And the other thing that he's going to be doing that I'm really excited about is every Wednesday, Mr. White is going to be doing what's called Workout Wednesdays with Mr. White. So we're essentially going to be turning the school over to him on a Wednesday. We're all invited, your students, myself, the staff are invited to wear physical fitness gear on Wednesdays. And we're doing a whole health and wellness activity every Wednesday where he'll pop into classrooms, he'll do 5 or 10-minute activities with them. And then at the end of the day, he's going to engage our school in a school-wide physical education activity every Wednesday. So a big welcome to Mr. White. Very excited to have him on board and part of our family. We've also hired a new special education teacher, Miss Giordano. She comes to us from one of the local private schools in the area. Her fun fact is that she loves traveling and going to Zumba class, but she is also, again, very energetic, super excited to start. I believe she has a background in art and has said that she's willing to jump on board and work part of that internal residency program. She also has a huge background in early childhood education. She actually started the 3K and pre-K program at one of the private schools in the area. So she is going to be helping in that capacity as well with our early childhood department and bringing in some of her, new programs and some of the initiatives that she played a part in. So I am very excited to see her on board and join our team as well. And with that, I would be, it wouldn't be right of me to not congratulate some of our second-year teachers that are joining us again this year. So again, a huge congratulations. I know he's on to Mr. Tobia, who's coming in as a second-year teacher. So congrats, Mr. Tobia. Ms. Radonovic is staying with us again for another year. So I'm very happy and congratulations to her. And of course, Ms. Budis is also with us another year as a second-year teacher. And we will be in the processing of hiring and announcing our new parent coordinator shortly. So, Miss Achilles did retire. She has been with our school for many, many years. We all love Miss Andrea and we will miss her dearly. Myself and Miss Lamarca have been conducting ongoing interviews throughout the summer. And we will be announcing our parent coordinator shortly in the coming days as well. So we do have some new faces to our staff, but all excited and we're all, just eager to see them part of our family. All right, Ms. Lamarca, you can finish sharing there. I'm going to, instead of going back to my slide, because I obviously really clearly didn't know how to do it. Now I don't even know. Hold on. Where is everyone? There we go. I'll get the hang of this at some point, right? All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about today is our after school programs. And I know we've had a lot of questions about the after school program. So I actually am going to share that again. Can you see that? Can you see the after school program? You see the after school program? Yes? Okay, great. All right, so we've had a lot of questions about our after school program and what's the difference between the two programs? When are they starting? What is it going to look like? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. So we do have two programs in the school. One is Serious Fun and one is New York Edge. The difference between the two is the following. Serious Fun is a paid for program. New York Edge is a free program. Some of the things that I want to clarify is because parents have reached out to me about the price of Serious Fun. I unfortunately do not supervise Serious Fun or New York Edge. So they are what's called CBOs. They are partnerships that come into the building. They have their own supervisors. They have their own HR department. They do their own staffing. They create their own calendar. They set the dates, the times, the programs, etc. They do work with the school though. So what that means is they work with us in terms of which classrooms they can use, permits, activities, things like that. There is some overlap, like when there's some conflict in the after school program, sometimes the school will get involved and help mediate that conflict. But for the most part, I have no jurisdiction over the two programs. So a lot of people came to me about the price of Serious Fun. Unfortunately, I cannot help in that capacity. What I can say is that Serious Fun does offer scholarships. There is about 10 or so spots that they have for scholarships or reduced tuition. The best way to inquire about that would be to email ps84@seriousfunnewyorkcity.org. That would be the best way to inquire about that program. You would just shoot them an email, say, hi, I'm interested in a scholarship for Serious Fun. And then from there, the director of the program will then talk to you and walk you through the application process in regard to that piece. New York Edge is a free program. New York Edge, there is no cost to New York Edge. However, a lot of questions come up about the application. When is it being released, things like that. The application for New York Edge has been released. I did post it on Dojo a while ago. Malcolm, the director of New York Edge, said that you could email them at ps84q@newyorkedge.org. But they are in charge of the application process, who gets in, how do they pick it, things like that. In terms of their total number of enrollment, I haven't gotten that information yet, but again, they give that information to me. So I do have a scheduled meeting with Malcolm for this week. I believe it's I think it's today actually, where we're going to be having a conversation about what the start date is, how many kids they're anticipating. But again, any questions that you have in regards to the after school program really needs to be directed to New York Edge or Serious Fun. However, I can advocate on your behalf. And that's what I've done for some families. Some families have reached out and said, hey, listen, I haven't gotten a response from New York Edge. And then what I would do is kind of forward the email and say, hey, can you please respond to this parent? Or Mr. Armano, I'm not sure of the days. I mean, once the days are released, I'll be able to communicate that information. But unfortunately, I'm not in charge of the program, so I really don't have jurisdiction over them. I did communicate to both Serious Fun and New York Edge that I do not want a repeat of last year. Last year was a catastrophe where they told me they were going to have X number of students, then that number went down as a result of the vaccine mandate. Then they got hit with staffing issues. Serious Fun started later in the year. We brought them on board to kind of compensate from the lack of seats that New York Edge had. They started a little bit later. So I will say that Serious Fun is going to be up, running, and fully operational as of the first day of school. So families that have applied to Serious Fun already have already gotten information from them. And if they didn't receive the information yet, they will be getting them within the next couple of days. New York Edge is still finalizing a start date. So once that date is finalized on their end with their human resources and their staffing, they'll let us know, and then we'll be able to communicate that to the community. So there will be a bit of a lag in terms of when New York Edge starts and the first day of school. But again, Serious Fun will be operational as of the first day. The other thing I want to let people know is that New York Edge will not be free forever. Unfortunately, this is the last year of New York Edge being a fully free program. We received New York Edge as a grant 5 years ago to give us 5 years of free after-school care. The reason why we received that grant was because we partnered with 5 of our district schools and essentially piggyback off of their application in order to get the program. So we have to start thinking about this now. I did not get the prices of what New York Edge would be if we had to do a full paid program with them, but I will be asking that question very early on in the year. And that information will be presented to parents as well, because we need to have options, right? If we have to pay for a program, how much does that cost and what does that look like and what does that program give us? And I totally get it. A lot of parents have reached out to me with frustration in response to how much Serious Fun is and the date of New York Edge. I myself am in the same situation. My wife is a full-time teacher. We have 2 kids in childcare, and we're also balancing before school, after school. What does that look like? How much it is? Who's picking up? So I totally get it, and I will advocate for you. I will do as much as I possibly can, and you have my word, and I've done that in the past. But I do get to a certain point where I'm not allowed really to push anymore, because New York Edge has told me in the past, Mr. Armano, we don't come into PS 84 and tell you what to do. So I do have to respect their boundaries in some capacity. But I will always advocate for our school, and I will always do what I need to do in order to make sure that we get what we're entitled to. So that's those contact information there, or the contact information there. Oh, before I jump to the next one, early drop-off. So questions came in about a breakfast program, an early drop-off program, an early arrival program, especially now that school's starting at 8 o'clock. Parents say that they really need to get the kids to school a little bit earlier. We will most likely be opening up our cafeteria for a breakfast program. However, we do not have the specifics on that yet. So what I do ask is just give us a little bit of time. Give us a couple weeks to get acclimated, because we have to figure out staffing on our end, who's going to run that program, what it's going to look like. I need to talk to food services. I need to have a conversation with our COVID people to make sure that we're allowed to do that, which I believe we are. But just give us a couple weeks. So I know there's been some parents that have reached out. Again, once we have an early drop-off program finalized, I will communicate that with everyone so you're aware of what that looks like, what time it starts, what time it ends, and the locations that would be in. Most likely that would be run by one of our school aides. And again, I will let you know what that looks like. But so just give us a little time with that. We'll communicate that probably, I would say, around the middle of September, around the, like second full week of school, give or take, but we'll let you know what that looks like. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing my screen at this point. And Ms. Lamarca, we'll, if you could, we'll go to the chat and we'll answer some questions. I'm sure there are some questions in the chat, and we'll go from there. We'll have a conversation and take it question by question.
Someone asked how they update their address. That probably with Marie, right?
Yeah, so your blue card is the best bet. So what I would suggest is when you get your blue cards at the beginning of school year, make sure your address is updated on there. I am going to have our office staff run through the blue cards and then match that up to our ATS system to make sure that all addresses are up to date. Address and phone numbers and email address. One of the things that Andrea, our former parent coordinator, was doing was emailing parents to let them know what's going on. So we're going to definitely segue into that with our new parent coordinator as well.
Will parents / students have group Zooms with specific classroom teachers before the first day of school? So you kind of did that with the, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's going to happen before the first day of school, but there will be a meet the teacher night. And the meet the teacher night will be done virtually. Actually, that's a very good question. All parent teacher conferences will be virtual. That's something that the Department of Education has already decided upon as of now. If anything changes, we'll let you know, but there will be an opportunity for you to meet your teacher. And obviously parents are in, can have their students attend as well.
Are students marked absent after the 5-day quarantine? So I guess the question is if like they're still.
Yeah, so every time a child is not in school, they're marked absent, but there are different codes that are associated with the absence. So some codes are, excused absence versus not excused absence. A COVID-related absence is an excused absence. So it's not a negative mark on their report card, not on report card, but on their record, but it does still count as an absence.
Will classroom work be provided to students who are at home in quarantine after doctor's orders, even if they are not positive?
Those would be case-by-case basis. So what we would do is we would communicate to parents on a case-by-case basis to determine what that looks like, because there is no remote option. It's only in-person school. But however, there is accommodations for those that test positive. So that would be a case-by-case, and that would be a conversation that we would have.
Will the students continue to receive tests every week like last year?
So it's 4 times a month. And I haven't received any guidance on when in the month that's supposed to be. So I'm not sure if that's a school-wide decision. If it is a school-wide decision, we'll make a schedule and it'll be the same, days of the months or weeks in terms of when they will get it.
Protocol for snow days.
So as of right now, again, that's not that's not something that I'm in charge of making announcements on. But according to the Department of Education, snow days will be fully remote days of instruction. So the kids will be online with the teachers through the online platform. Information about snow days and online learning will be distributed to students and families as we get closer to the start of school.
Does the school let families know if there was a potential exposure in their class, not just a general school letter?
So what usually happens is, again, I am not, the letters are given to me by the Situation Room. So we're in charge of communicating their information. But children who if a child is exposed, so for example, myself and Ms. Lamarca are in the same class, I test positive, Ms. Lamarca is exposed now, she will get a test kit and a separate letter. So it'll be the general school announcement, and then in her backpack, she'll come home with a letter that says she was exposed, and then the protocol for the test kits.
How will the second language program work?
So the students will be seen by Ms. Alvarado. She's going to be our second language teacher, similar to the way that they would be seen by Mr. Tobia or Mr. White. And they would go to her classroom, and she's going to be doing like a Spanish 101 type of program with the kids. She's very excited about it. We're all very excited about it. We are creating the program essentially. It's our program. It's not like we went off the shelf and bought a program and said, this is what you're going to teach. So a lot of it is also going to be tied to our PS 84 Travels the World Diversity Initiative, where we're going to be asking parents for, input, advice on what they would like to see in the program. And again, kind of build that program the same way we built the other program. So it really is going to be tailored to our school community. And that's really when learning actually happens. And I'm just going to piggyback I just saw a question that popped in on the chat. See, Miss Lamarck is impressed that I am monitoring the chat as well. Is the second language class available to all grades? Yes, it's going to be a 3K through grade 5 program.
Will there be specific educators working on the art residency program?
Yes. So like I said, it's an internal residency program with external partnerships. So I'm going to have more conversations about this program with our teachers during opening faculty conferences. But yes, our teachers in our building will be the ones that jump into the residency and actually teach the art program over the cycle that we're working on. And that schedule will be communicated to staff as well.
As far as seats in New York Edge, we're not
100% sure what the seats are. They have a very large capacity, but their seats are usually created based on their staffing. So the more workers they have on staff, the more seats they have to offer. We've communicated on our end that we want them to max out. So if they can go up to 140, that's what we want. We want to be able to offer our parents and give our parents full seats to that program.
The reasoning behind not having after school for pre-K, is there?
That's actually not a school decision. That's actually a Department of Health decision with, I believe, the individual CBOs. There aren't many CBO programs out there that offer after school programs for pre-K. And I really don't know the reasoning behind that. I know New York Edge and Serious Fun are not licensed to go down to pre-K. However, this is something that I've always been advocating for and continue to look for in terms of getting even a third program in. And that's something that I'm going to have conversations with and maybe even seek some help from our SLT and PTA to see how we could do that, because that would be great.
How do we get a Class Dojo login? And that's from the teacher.
Yeah.
As soon as school starts, you'll get that information from the teacher.
Yes. Just again, Class Dojo is not, it's not mandated by the school, but our teachers use it, and it's something that they love to use. And I think it's a great way to communicate. And I applaud our teachers for doing something like that. I actually just got my very first Class Dojo invitation from my child's teacher. So now I'm on the other end of it. Now I get to sign in as a parent.
What's our amazing new custodian's name?
His first name is Alec, A-L-E-K, and we call him Mr. Alec.
Could you let us know updates on the water filling stations? What will the solution be if they are not working?
Yeah, so that was when Alec, our new custodian, came in. We sat down and we went through a lot of outstanding construction, things that are on deck that have not happened. And that's one of them that for some reason hasn't happened yet. And I believe the reason is because, we didn't have a permanent custodian here at the building. So Alec is following up with the contractors. It's my understanding that they will be put in place. I don't know when that's going to be or what that's going to be. The resolution to it will be similar to what we did last year. I know some of the teachers ask for water bottles, but the school will pick up the cost of that. We'll get water bottles for the kids and things like that. But I'm very hopeful that these projects are going to happen. Alec has only been here since the middle of July. And like I said, he's already replaced the fire extinguishers, upgraded the alarm panel, did exterior masonry work, locks in the building, doors in the building. He really is running at like an Energizer bunny at full speed. So I'm going to give him a little bit of time because I did throw a lot at him. So I do feel bad, but I'm going to give him a little bit of time and that's on his list of items to address. So we'll see what he says.
If they're having trouble getting in to see the state test scores.
Yes, I've gotten a lot of parents have reached out regarding issues accessing the state test scores. I don't know why they should automatically be populated on the New York City Schools account, but I'm going to escalate that because I did receive a few emails about that. So I'm just wondering if there was something system-wide. So I'll get back to families about that. And that'll probably be in my first Steinway snippet with directions on how to access those scores.
How many students will be in 3K and how many teachers in the classroom?
Okay, so 3K is capped at 15 students. And there will be one teacher and one paraprofessional. And because now I'm actually reminded of something else that I forgot to share that I will share now. So 3K is one class, 15 students, one teacher, one paraprofessional. For pre-K, we have 3 classes. That's capped at 18 students with one teacher, one paraprofessional. And there was a lot of talk at the end of school about having 2 first grade classes compared to 3 first grade classes. So I'm happy to announce that we have 3 first grade classes. So we are opening up the school year with a 3rd first grade class, which I know that was a lot of concern from parents about the number of students in that classroom. But I will say this, we are monitoring the caps in classes. We still are a very small school. And again, with small school comes, not as much funding as some of the larger schools have. But we are able to make it work right now with 3 classes. However, I don't know what that would materialize with down the road. But again, these are conversations that we will have, and you will know every step of the way.
Cafeteria updates.
Yes, so we are still expected to get a new cafeteria. The architects came in over the summer, and when they were doing their initial drawings of the cafeteria, they uncovered some of the steam pipes underneath the cafeteria floor that need to be replaced. So the steam pipe project will be happening first, and then the remodel of the cafeteria will be happening after that. It was explained to me, which I totally understand. It was explained to me that, older buildings, things need to be replaced. And what they need to do first is the bones of the building before they put a Band-Aid on top of the, existing cafeteria. So again, still one of the projects. The money is there for us. And we're just waiting for them to come in, the plumbers and piping work to come in and do the steam pipes. And then once that's fixed, then they'll begin the renovation of the cafeteria. However, they will not be renovating the cafeteria during the school year, obviously, because we would not have the ability to house the kids anywhere else to eat their lunch. So that would be a summer project.
The next step, if they accepted their 3K seat.
Okay, so if you've accepted your 3K seat, we're still waiting from our list from the Office of Enrollment. They usually pop into our system at some time this week. So the next step would be that you would get a phone call either from the office or from the teacher introducing themselves to you. So just hang tight. We're just waiting for that list. And like I said, that usually happens around the 2nd or 3rd day, so like Wednesday or Thursday of this week.
Social emotional learning program.
So we're still, I'm sorry, what'd you say, Ms.
Yeah,
Miller?
what is it?
Okay, so we're still going to be using Stanford Harmony. Miss Abel, before the school year ended last year, Miss Abel ordered the new editions of Stanford Harmony. Those did come in, Miss Abel, so I'm very happy about that. So Miss Abel will be working with the Stanford Harmony program. And prior to the closing of school, we actually worked on a values program where we had certain books of the month that kind of linked up with our core values. That then linked up to our curriculum. And then we did a nice assembly program with the kids honoring those values. It was like a school created social emotional learning program. And we're going to be starting that up again as well. And so I give a huge shout out to Miss Abel, she always takes ownership with that program and she does a wonderful job there. And she's always looking for innovative ways to kind of bring that into the curriculum. But there will be a dedicated time that the teachers will have. It's a block of time where they do SEL. It's part of who we are as a school. It's part of who we are as a community. And we're always seeking additional methods of teaching that with our kids.
Can you speak to the new 4th, 5th grade academy?
Yes, I can. I will speak a little bit about our 4th and 5th grade academy program because we are having a separate academy meeting for those parents later this week, but it is also something that I think the general school community should know about. So what we're doing this year is we're creating an innovative approach to how we're looking at grades 4 and 5, and we're creating the Academy at PS 84. So what is that? Well, the Academy at PS 84 is a departmentalized model of instruction where they have one teacher for reading, one teacher for writing, and one teacher for math. And the reason why we do that is because in elementary school teachers are trained and certified to teach multiple subjects, called a multi-subject certification. In secondary and in high school, they're trained and certified to teach content-specific subjects. But that doesn't mean that elementary school teachers don't have a flair or passion or expertise in some of the content specific subjects that they teach. And we see it all the time. We see it when we look at the data. Teachers who are stronger teaching math, students tend to score higher in math than they do in ELA, and teachers who tend to score, who have a passion or an expertise in ELA, their students tend to score higher in ELA. So why not create a departmentalized model in which they get those passions and those strong points for the teachers? The other good thing about the academy model is that there will be a schedule, but the schedule is flexible and fluid. And what I mean by that is every Monday, the teachers have what's called professional development time. That time is going to be time where we sit down and look at data. The academy schedule will change based off of informal observation and assessments from the teachers. So if I am in class 4A and my class is scoring 10% lower than class 4B in math, next week, I am going to be getting an increased math course, an acceleration to get me up to speed with my counter class or the counter class you have on the side. The academy will also have built-in enrichment, built-in social emotional learning, built-in coaching, and built-in advisory periods similar to a model, similar to middle school. You see, not many people know this, but I actually wrote my thesis about the transition from elementary to middle school and the effects of the whole child and the effects of the learning disabled child. And believe it or not, the transition from elementary to middle is probably one of the biggest transitions a child will take, including infancy to toddler to young child. So it's very important that we kind of build on that success now. We've partnered with our team at 141 and had conversations with them about what they think this should look like in terms of an elementary approach. And we've created something that I feel is very state of the art. Again, building it as we're doing it, but have the background to do it, because this is not something we haven't done in the past. We've actually done this before with our 5th graders, and my very first school, we did it with grades 3, 4, and 5. So I've actually seen the benefits outweigh, the negatives in this, and I'm very excited about it. A question did come in about, will the students be transitioning or the teachers to the new academy? So that's a very good question in terms of if, and I believe the question is, will the kids be going from class to class, or will the teachers be going from class to class? So this is a conversation I'm going to have with the teachers and the students, because I would like the students to transition from class to class. However, I don't necessarily think they should be doing that at the start of school. I think that's something we need to work up to. I think that's something we need to lead into. I don't want to give them too many changes at once. I want them to kind of ease into the transition. So we will be supporting them. This is still an elementary school, so I don't want anyone to think, oh, he's turning 4th and 5th grade into a middle school. I'm not doing that. It's still an elementary school. We still have our elementary kid gloves on. We're still going to make sure that our kids have everything they need. Ms. Abel will be working with the academy students as well to make sure that they transition well. But I think ultimately, if you're giving students an individualized education, I mean, there's really not much more you can say about that. That's what they're getting.
For the first day of school, will pre-K students be attending the whole day, and will a parent be joining them?
So usually the first day of school for pre-K is a half day. I actually just escalated that question, and we do have, myself and Ms. Lamarca have a district 30 meeting tomorrow where we're going to be getting the answers to a lot of these questions. But we will blast that out. Usually what happens is the pre-K and now 3K parents will be getting letters and phone calls and things like that. So that will be communicated to all of those families, how many hours, when the start time. But historically, it's 2 sessions. So we split the class in half. Half of the class comes in a morning session, and then the other half of the class comes in the afternoon session. And the parents usually stay with the kids for the first day or two, and then we transition to full day instruction with them as well. We'll let you know about that.
Does 8 a.m. start time mean that that is the time the building opens for arrival, or that is the time the students should be in their classroom ready for the day to begin, meaning they should arrive 7:50, 7:55?
So the doors will open at 8 o'clock for the students to enter the building. So it's best to be on the school grounds by 8 o'clock. They meet their teacher at 8 o'clock, and then they'll transition to the classroom. However, like I said a little bit while ago, we will be working on a early type of drop-off breakfast program, which may open the building anywhere 15 or 20 minutes earlier. So you're looking at 7:40 or 7:45. So we will let you know about that as we finalize the kinks on that. We definitely need a little time with that. I'm not going to lie. We will be doing it. I'm going to say we will because nothing's guaranteed. We anticipate doing it. We just need to figure out the schedule and what that looks like, and we will be communicating that to our community.
I think you touched on this before, announcing who the pre-K teachers are.
No, I don't think I did, right? Did I?
Okay.
Okay, so our pre-K teachers for this school year, we have some new pre-K teachers actually. Not new to the school, just new in the grade. Miss Punger will be teaching pre-K this year. She was a former kindergarten teacher. And as of right now, we have Miss Massarelli and Miss Gerasimo slated for the other two pre-K classes. And Miss Castellano will be teaching our 3K class.
Miss Abel nicely put the Stanford Harmony link in the chat.
Thanks, Miss Abel.
You answered that. Do you need to be vaccinated to stay with your child on the first day of pre-K? What happens?
So yeah, so that would follow, we would have to follow the guidelines on, coming into the school building. And so yes, the adults would have to be vaccinated.
Do students need to bring in anything additional if school supplies are shipped to the school?
I would just say, a pencil, notebook, something like that. I heard from Educate today, the school supplies will be shipped to the school on Wednesday. And I believe our wonderful PTA will be coming in on Thursday. I think Jay-Z just came off mute. Jay-Z, you want to say something?
Yes, thank you. That was a perfect segue. Hi, I'm Jay-Z. It's good to see a lot of returning faces. And for the new families, I'm Jay-Z. I'm one of the co-presidents of the PTA. And I think Joanna's on this as well. She is the one that spearheaded the EduKids program for us this year. Thank you so much for that, Joanna. We are actually requesting volunteers for this week, as EduKids will be delivered on Wednesday, and we're going to need some help just kind of organizing the supplies on Thursday. I'm going to actually post the PTA email, the Gmail. And if you can participate and volunteer this week, I'm aiming for Thursday, probably Thursday morning. Just shoot us over an email. Let me know if you're available to come in this Thursday, September 1st. And then we're going to also need another group of volunteers, Ms. Lamarck, I believe September 12th, you said?
Well, yeah, that week. It doesn't have to be Monday, but it could be Tuesday or Wednesday if you want, yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to need another group of parents about the second full week of September to help distribute the supplies for the teachers. So I'm going to post the PTA email in the chat. And then if you can, just, shoot us an email, let us know if you're available this week for September 1st in the morning, let's say about 10 o'clock. And then again, the week of September 12th.
Jay-Z, since you're off mute, I think like a couple of parents just need like clarification on how the EduKits work. Like if they didn't order through EduKit, then they have to do the supply list that's on the website, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Oh, and then,
sorry, Jay-Z. What I'll do is, because I saw the questions come up as well, I'm going to post our website in the chat, which is ps84q.org. If you click that link, it'll take you directly. The first thing that pops up is our supply list. So if you did not get your supplies through EduKit, then there are supply lists on our website where you could go to Staples or Target or Amazon or wherever to pick up your supplies.
Okay, and then Joanna, I believe we said that second grade, we did not add the home goods. So the paper towels and the soaps that the teachers had requested. So if the teachers can just kind of just, let those parents know at the start of the school year that, what home goods they would need.
Right, I think second grade, it was just like jumbo gallon bags. That was the only extra like supply, we call it household supplies. That's not in the kit. So you'll still need to provide them. It just was too expensive. So I think you could probably get it cheaper, not through EduKit. Yeah.
And then I think Dom, you got everybody in the chat.
That was it? Okay, great. I also see, I'm just looking through, and while Jay-Z's on, I'm looking through, I see some of our PTA members are on. So Jay-Z, do you want to just introduce some of the PTA members so that people know? I know you're the co-president. You want to maybe just give a little shout out?
Yeah, I'm one of the co-presidents. Jamie, are you on? She is our other co-president on our board. Oh, I saw her on before.
Yeah,
I know she kept
Yeah,
popping
I
in and
saw
out.
her before. I don't see her.
Oh, Daniela Vitolo's on. She is our vice president. Daniela.
Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Claudia, is Claudia on?
I don't
She
think
is our
I
secretary. Jeff Lyle's not on, but he's over here. So let me call him over. Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
Nice to meet y'all.
I
That's
did.
Jeff is our treasurer. Yeah, and I think that's it.
Yeah, and we have so huge shout out to our PTA. Thank you for all you do. I mean, we've had a great partnership. We'll continue to have a great partnership. So I'm very excited moving forward with them. And I also see some SLT members on. I see Mary Schofield's on. And now I can't find the participation list. I'm really having a day with Zoom. This is not
Desiree
good.
was on, but she had to sign off. So
Oh,
she's
okay.
not.
Desiree was on. Hi, Mary. Is here waving. Desiree was on. So we have some of our SLT members as well. And so again, huge thank you to them and our PTA, and really looking forward to it. Yeah. So finally, is there any other questions? Do we need a label? Do we need to label the school supplies with the child's name or just send them in? Yeah, definitely label them with the child's name and the teacher's name. I will also say this: if you are purchasing school supplies outside of the Educate purchase, there is no rush to bring them in on the first day of school. And the reason why I say that is because the first day of school is always a little hectic. It's organized chaos. That's fine. So the first full week is fine. So there's no need. Don't go to the website and go running to Amazon today. And, we'll take time. I'll speak to the teachers during opening conferences next week. And what we've done over the last 2 years is the teachers actually pick a date when to have the school supplies come in, so that it's a little more organized. So like there's a specific date for second grade, there's a specific date for third grade. So it's not just like bags and bags of school supplies coming in, but definitely labeled with the child's name on it. And then the teachers will communicate in terms of when that date is going to be. Just one other
Someone was
question.
asking about IEP.
Yes.
I messaged her. Yeah.
Okay, perfect, great. And then the last thing I just want to add is the communication. Last year, I'm starting my second year as principal. Ms. Lamarck is still technically in her first year because of the academic year, the way it falls. So I've promised last year when I started out that the communication, I have an open door policy. I will be communicating with you constantly. The best way to communicate with us, obviously, would be our email address. I put my email on the earlier on there. That doesn't mean you can't pop by the school or give a call. I have an open door policy. So if you're popping by, you want to come in, have a question, concern, by all means, please do not hesitate to reach out. We're here. A lot of parents emailed us over the last 2 weeks. We are going through those emails, although it's a lot, so just bear with us. We will get back to you, I promise, before school starts. I'm very big and active on social media in terms of just communicating all the good, positive happenings that are happening at the school. So please, if you don't already, follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. Our website is new and updated. It's ps84q.org. The Class Dojo, we are on Class Dojo. We communicate a lot on Class Dojo. I will say this, myself and Ms. Lamarca are no longer attached to classes on Class Dojo. And the reason why we're not is because we don't regularly check Class Dojo as we do our email, and parents were messaging us and we were missing those messages. So what we decided to do is we're still on Class Dojo. We could post to Class Dojo, see the happenings on Class Dojo, but you're not going to have the ability to message us. So if you have any questions you want to read, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're here. That's what we want to do. Once a week, I'm going to be posting my Steinway snippet still. I'm actually working on, I'm going to put myself, I'm going to say it and we'll see if I keep up with it. I'm going to try. I'm going to also try and do a once a week video update as well, like a little fireside chat thing. So we'll try and keep up with that. And really the best thing to do is to just communicate with us. We're here to help. Any questions, any comments, any concerns. I know a lot of parents sometimes when they get frustrated or they get concerned, they'll go to like the District 30 Facebook page or the moms group or things like that. That necessarily doesn't trickle down to us. So if there's anything, just reach out to us directly, or you could always reach out to our wonderful, wonderful PTA. I know sometimes they get messages from parents, and Jay-Z and Jamie and all of them are awesome at communicating that information to us so that we can make this year as smooth, a successful, and just great. You know, like I said, like I had a great year last year and I'm super excited about this year, and we're just really happy to accept your kids, and we're really happy to just be part of their life, and we want to make it as great as we know we can. So unless there's any other questions, I think we are good. Those that are on today that are also going to be attending the Academy Zoom, which we'll get into more information about that. Unfortunately, it was scheduled for tomorrow, but we had to reschedule it for Wednesday because we will be at a District 30 meeting all day tomorrow. But Wednesday, we will be back at school and we'll be hosting that Academy session as well. Any other questions? Don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah, and I recorded this, so we'll put it up on our YouTube channel.
Yes, we also have a YouTube, which
Yeah.
is Swag TV, and we'll drop that on there as well so that you could see it. All right, everyone, have an excellent rest of the summer. See you guys in a little bit.
Bye, everybody.